Hello and welcome to your weekly roundup of all the latest news and ramble about the world of electric cars from the team at electrifying.com. That is us.
So this week we're going to be talking charging tariffs, the affordable Tesla that might actually be happening, and the return of yet another name from the past.
Indeed. Plus, we will also be dipping into the post bag once again with Postman Mike to hear what you have had
Don't
to
make
say.
me sing it.
Welcome, team, to the Kilowatt Half Hour. I am Ginny.
I'm Nicola.
And I'm Postman Mike.
There he is.
And first of all, she's back. The Nicola is back from the desert where we banished her.
Yeah, banish me to the. I've been at the Dakar rally for the last 3 weeks, hosting a new TV show for Red Bull TV. I have watched the Dakar rally for a long time, but I think actually being a part of it and experiencing it, I had no idea of the scale of this thing. My goodness, 3,000 people in a bivouac, which is a giant campsite, if you will, that moves every day, not just down the road, but hundreds and hundreds of kilometres down. It's the equivalent of doing...
It's flights, basically, isn't it?
I had to do flights.
Yeah.
And then some people had to then drive overnight. Some people then drove during the day to then meet at the next bivouac, while the people were racing across the desert, across the sand dunes to meet you there on the other side. Then you film for the day, and then you pack up and you do the same thing all over again the following day.
It is a bonkers event, isn't it? I remember a long time ago when Colin McRae was taking part in it with Nissan. I think I went out there to one of the legs. And
to one of the legs?
Just to one of them. And it's completely off the scale, but also, like you said, massively impressive.
Huge.
But I did come away from it just thinking a little bit, why?
Oh, because it's awesome.
Okay.
I think anyone that's kind of into motorsport, this is like, it's the pinnacle of motorsport.
Yeah, I love motorsport,
Yeah.
but I did just come away thinking, this is nuts.
It is the toughest, craziest race of all time. They are racing for 2 weeks straight across sand dunes, across rocks for hundreds of kilometres every day. And then they get up and they do the whole thing all over again. They are absolutely bananas. And I did spot there were 2 guys that were taking part on an electric bike. And what they were doing was they had 2 batteries that they were kind of swapping, and they were charging the batteries via solar.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that is good.
Yes,
But I do suspect, I don't know about you, Mike, that we are probably quite a way away from the Dakar being fully solar or electric.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I went on to ZapMap for Saudi Arabia, and there wasn't a lot of charging points on the route I can see. But, I mean, it's a bit like if you're old enough, in my vintage, remember the the cartoon Wacky Races? They would just seem to be going from some random point to A to B with the Anthill Mob and Dick Dastardly and everything. It's a bit like that, but in real life. If you've never seen anything about the Dakar, they have even the trucks that carry the stuff to the next stage race as well, don't they? So there's motorbikes, there's cars, there's buggies, there's trucks, there's anything goes.
Quads.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, just talking about wacky races, I did a podcast last year that I hosted about the World Solar Challenge, which is that sustainable race that happens in Australia. I think it's every couple of years. It might be every 5 years. I can't remember now. But it's got to be powered by solar. So I was actually talking to a team from Durham University who were going out there to compete, and it's brilliant because that is genuinely about pushing the boundaries of engineering. But the cars look so strange.
Just covered in panels.
It is that thing. And but there are it's interesting stuff, and I love the fact that people want to do it.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of like challenges and stuff, next week I'm going to Norway with the FIA, and I'm there taking part in an EV long range challenge.
Aha.
So I'm going to be taking part in it, which I'm really looking forward to. I don't know what car I'm going to be driving yet. So all I know is I'm taking part. And the idea is you just get as far as you physically can in the car that you're given. Now, naturally, I like to think I'm going to do a pretty blooming good job with that, because I like to think I'm a basic EV expert now.
You're an EV ninja.
Yeah.
And just in case you need some tips, we do have a very handy explainer about how to get the best out of your electric car in cold weather that the lovely Mike wrote, that is on electrifying.com. Isn't that right, Mike?
That's true. Who are you going with again, did you say?
With the FIA. So I'm covering
Excellent.
it for the FIA. Yeah.
Good. Well, at least if there's a lineup of cars, you'll know to choose. With your knowledge, you'll be able to pick the one that's got the longest range. Hopefully, you'll be able to sort of jump straight in it. We'll leave someone else in the Honda E.
Well, but it's not even about that, though, is it, Mike? Because we know it's about getting the car that is the most efficient.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Aerodynamics.
Yeah. Shall we move on and talk about what we have been doing?
Yes.
Again, Mike, what are you going to raise on the podcast today? What's caught your eye this week?
Well, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Tom, our editor, has had his head in a spreadsheet for the best part of a week looking at the best electric car tariffs, because the tariff market from, sort of post-pandemic, post-Ukraine was broken, basically. There were no options to change. And now that's changing a little bit. There are some really good alternative tariffs out there. So Tom's been having a look at them and comparing them, which is actually far harder than it sounds, because you're not really comparing apples with apples sometimes, because there's so many different types of smart tariff, dumb tariffs, that kind of thing. But if you go onto the site, you can see the findings of our review. A lot of them depend on what your personal case is. If you've got smart charging, if you've got one of the 3, I think, chargers that uses smart charging, or one of the cars, then you can take advantage of more tariffs. If you haven't, you're kind of stuck with the sort of 1 or 3 or 4 sort of dumb tariffs, as they call them. But yeah, I mean, the winner, as you'll feel if you do read the article, surprisingly, isn't Octopus. It's actually OVO Energy. If you're able to use smart meters. But it's a fascinating piece. Right. I think it's relevant to everybody. And of course, if you're going to get a smart tariff, that's going to save you £500 over a regular tariff. But there are some sort of fine tuning around the edges that you can save quite a bit more if you do make a switch to one of these new guys.
Yeah. I found that interesting, because normally when you speak to anyone to do with anything with electric cars and you'll go, what's the best tariff? Everyone instantly says Octopus.
Well, that's what we were expecting.
Yeah.
I think you will be shocked by the results of this one, because it's definitely...
Number 4 will shock you, or whatever it is.
Will shock you.
Clickbait.
Yeah, the result will shock you. But also, I think what it really brought home to me, Mike, reading that article, was the fact that how penalised you are if you can't charge at home still. Because now that these affordable tariffs are coming back, we're back to that situation where that gap between electric car ownership, if you can charge at home, and ownership if you can't, is just becoming, it's costing you more and more. It really is.
Yeah, the prices are really jumping up now, aren't they?
Yeah, and we've got to see, I feel like we talk about this almost every week, so maybe I should ban myself from talking about it for a couple of weeks.
No, it needs to, we need
to get rid of the VAT. This is very UK centric, by the way, so apologies if you're not in the UK, but I'm sure you've got similar things. We pay a tax on public charging here, and it is much lower on home energy. So it basically means that if you're not charging your car at home, you're paying more for the privilege in the first place, but then you're paying an even bigger tax to the government, and they do need to sort that out. And I'll stop ranting now.
Good rant.
Okay, good rant.
Good
So, Nicola, we dragged you straight back from the Dakar, and we flung you into a nice, hot, sweaty studio, didn't we, in the Midlands? In Bedfordshire, actually.
In Bedfordshire, it was very nice. Because I got to have a little look around the Polestar 4.
And I came to join you.
Yes.
This is the car from Polestar that quite controversially doesn't have a rear windscreen.
Yeah, it's that one. I
don't know how much we can say about it, because the embargo is until the 31st of January, which is Wednesday the 31st. It'll the video will be dropping for that, so do sign up and turn your notifications on our YouTube channel if you haven't already, if you want to find out about it. But it's interesting, that rear windscreen thing, isn't it?
I still don't get it. They've kind of explained why they haven't put a windscreen by going, there's not really the space to do it. If we did it, it would be a tiny windscreen. But actually, I think it would just look better even with a tiny windscreen.
Money saving?
Yeah, but why?
I don't know. But we can't really talk too much more about that, I don't think.
No.
But it's an interesting car, and I think, again, Polestar seem to be like really ready. I don't know about you, Mike, but for some new models now.
Yeah.
We had the Polestar 2 that got revised last year. I personally think that's a really good car. I like it a lot. But then it's been like, right, we want to see what's coming next. Yeah. So it does feel like 3 and 4, which we will get to drive in a few months. I think finally they've really needed to get these cars to market, haven't they, Mike?
Yeah, I think they'll come in fairly short order now. I mean, I looked at the Polestar 3 well over a year ago now, did a walk around, and that was sort of, it's been coming soon for a while. And I think that even then they said it was going to be quite a while, but it was finished. It was production ready. It wasn't like a concept car or anything, but I would think it was always 2024, which I think when we look around it in 2022, you think that's ages away. And it has felt like it has been quite a big gap. But from what I've seen from the product line, and you spoke to them yesterday, you guys, it's going to come in fairly short order. We're going to see 3 and 4 and 5. And Polestar are a bit confusing, aren't they? Because they number their cars chronologically, like iPhones and Led Zeppelin albums. They're not like, the bigger number is the bigger car, like you get with, every other car manufacturer. So you kind of think that the 4 is going to be bigger than but it's not necessarily. So the 4 is smaller than the 3. So yes, it takes some getting your head around, because we're used to numbering being a bit different.
Yeah, and I think of like Kia, who have trademarked all the numbers like EV1 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite straightforward, isn't it? You know that 1 will be the baby and 9 will be the big one.
No,
but it's all a bit like it's very confusing. But I guess it's ultimately up to them.
It's basically
to call their cars what they want, even though we always have quite strong opinions on it, don't we? Hashtag 3, hashtag 1.
We can't obviously tell you much about it, but what we can say is we both made very positive noises while we were there, didn't we?
We made positive noises, and we both made positive noises when we were sitting inside.
Yes.
But
Okay.
So looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
On the subject of new cars, today we just got a new story up on the site about the Tesla Redwood.
Yeah.
Tesla Redwood. Finally, a bit more movement on a small car from Tesla.
Well, I mean, looking at the pictures, I'm assuming that's like an AI drawing or something.
Yeah, I did that.
Because it looks cheap, doesn't it?
It's a bit weird looking from that. That rendering,
that was me.
isn't it, Mike?
I didn't have a picture for it, so I used the power of AI to guess what it might look like. But I think we've been fairly honest with that.
Oh, did you do that?
Really?
Yeah, that's me.
I didn't realise.
Oh, it's really good and a really good drawing.
Honestly,
really proud of you, Mike. That was so great.
I literally had. If I'd have spent 3 days doing a Photoshop comp of it, then I would be offended. But I've actually typed the word small Tesla SUV into a well-known image generator, and that's what came out. So I thought I'd use that instead. So I thought, in full honesty here,
I think that's officially our first piece of AI-produced content on the site.
Yeah, we don't.
What a slippery slope!
Be careful. It's downhill from here.
All downhill from here. But what we do know, the things that AI don't need to tell us, around £25,000, we kind of think. And they've now started talking to suppliers. A lot of this came from Tesla's sort of, they do this kind of call to the financial analyst, don't they, which happened yesterday. And he has confirmed it. Codename Redwood. He's also confirmed that a new factory in Mexico will be used for production of the car, along with a yet to be confirmed site outside the US, which will be interesting to see where that is. I wonder if Europe would be. Wouldn't it make more sense for Europe's market for that car? Is going to be pretty strong in Europe, isn't it?
It just costs more to make it there if they want a cheap car.
that's. I think you've hit that. There are still some European markets that are cheap to build in, because they don't necessarily have the euro, and wages are lower, so they can still do it in Europe. But I doubt they build it in Berlin, because German labour costs are pretty high. So I mean, it's you've got to squeeze every little bit of the margin on that car. So
European labour costs are high, and we know that from Tesla's results, they have been struggling slightly. They've seen a growth in sales, but an actual drop off in the overall growth predictions, and I think that's down to partly a push to increase wages, certainly in the US and in Europe, and also interest rates. So maybe China is the place where that will be built. But I think it will be interesting, and I think they do need that smaller car. If we look at what's happened with BYD, who have now overtaken Tesla as the largest producer of battery electric cars globally. What BYD are quite clever. We talk about them a lot. They've got their Model 3 rival, but they've equally got the Atto 3 and the Dolphin, those smaller, more affordable cars. And if Tesla is going to really keep competitive, and also competitive in places like China and Europe, where it really needs to be, it's got to have a more affordable, relatively affordable car in its arsenal as well.
It will be interesting to see the quality that they managed to produce for a cheaper price. Because whenever you look at like the BYD, like we're looking at the Dolphin, there are certain moments where you can notice the price drop. But in terms of the quality, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, it is.
And when we did a video recently comparing the Seal to the Model 3, you could see that the quality of the Seal was just that bit better than the Tesla. So it'll be interesting to see if they really, really drop the quality of what they make just to make the car more affordable.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. What do you reckon, Mike? Are you excited by the Redwood?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think as much as the car will be exciting, I think their approach to how they're going to build that platform is going to be most interesting, because I think one of Elon's pet projects is robo-taxis as well, and those cars, they're going to share the platform. So they got the passenger car, the one that you and I could buy, is going to look fairly kind of normal, but it's supposed to be really kind of crazy out there for the robo-taxi. And I think, like they've done with Model 3 and Model Y, they've really changed the game in terms of how they build that thing. You know, it's on an enormous press. The automotive industry hasn't seen anything like it before, and all said it wouldn't work. And of course, it does work. So I think they're going to ramp that creativity and production up. And if they can build it for half the price that they said they're going to, that it currently is for Model 3 and Model Y, it could be a real game changer. But, you know, it is a Tesla. We were promised a small car in 2020. So, yeah, what's the difference? 2025. People have put $100,000 down for that roadster that's never going to turn up. So, you know, let's wait and see what actually turns up.
And Cybertruck again. Yeah, you know, is that actually ever going to really make it into mainstream production? No, maybe not. Probably not. So what else? Any cars caught your eye this week?
Yes. Literally scrolling through Twitter about a half an hour ago, and I'm assuming we've all seen the photos of the new electric Porsche Macan, have we?
We have. What do you think?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a bit disappointed. Don't hate me.
Okay. So I'm just looking at it
right,
now.
So from what I've read, it can go up to 630 horsepower. It's got around 381 miles of range, etc. Yeah. Lovely. However, it's a Porsche Macan. I want it to be sexier. It's not as sexy as I want it to be. Like, I look at the Taycan, that is a sexy, beautiful machine. I look at the Macan and I saw the pictures and I went, oh, that's a shame.
I was just flicking through electrifying.com news section, and I was just looking at some pictures of it, and I just thought, oh no, that's the wrong news story. That's an Audi.
Oh, interesting.
I thought it was an Audi. It's not massively distinct, and there's nothing wrong with Audis. Obviously, you know, I like Audi as a brand. I just suppose that it does look very Audi-esque, and I would like it to look a bit more
sexy.
I
want a sexy Porsche Macan.
Like the Taycan literally makes my heart beat. The Taycan Cross Turismo.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that car gets me really excited. I just love it. And that just makes me go, oh, yeah, that's a nice big Audi.
Okay. There's another new car. Great. Another great electric SUV. Brilliant. Where's the sexy Porsche-ness?
I'm also not loving the colour, that kind of lilac-y colour that was very in fashion about 18 months ago.
Is that the Wild Berry or whatever it's called? That one.
Anyway, so we're not. Yeah, we're a bit underwhelmed.
Yeah, Mike, come on. How do you feel?
I'm kind of a rare occasion. I kind of agree with you too. Actually, I'm not. Yeah. I guess it has. To a point, it has to be that shape because that's the market it's competing in. But I agree. It doesn't. Apart from those kind of sort of double stack sort of LED lights at the front, you wouldn't really know that it's an electric car. But maybe maybe Porsche have realised that that's what the market is. But I agree with you. Taycan's really grown on me. When I first saw it, I thought, I wasn't really. It looked a little bit kind of dolphin-like, at the front. Not BYD dolphin, but the fish dolphin. But you look at it now.
The real dolphin.
The mammal.
You look at them now on the road, like you said, they're Sport Turismo. They look fantastic things. They look really, really good. So, I think it might not a missed opportunity. But this thing's been coming for years, isn't it? I've seen so many spy shots of this thing. It's almost a disappointment when their wraps come off.
Sexy Porsches
I'll tell you a car that's not going to be sexy.
Go on.
The new Vauxhall Frontera. Even the name's not sexy, is it?
No, it's not. I remember the Frontera. I remember it from like the 90s or something.
You can't remember that car. Mike and I can remember the original.
Was it the 90s?
Yeah, it was built. It was built in the 80s, and when was it stopped, Mike? I can't even remember that.
It was one of those cars that everybody hated but sold really well.
Oh, it's an ugly looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was
1991 to 2004. There we go.
Yeah, it was an ugly looking thing.
It was, but I think it sort of allowed people to, because SUVs and kind of those chunky things were quite new at the time. And it was an era when, people still, Vauxhall, I wouldn't say it's an aspirational brand, but it was still a brand that people bought, not thinking it was the kind of the cheaper option. So it was the first time they'd ever had this kind of funky look. It was this, followed on from things like the Calibra, which were kind of quite design led, weren't they? And the Frontera hasn't aged terribly well. I will give it credit and say that when it first came out, it was quite a new thing. But yeah, I mean, it's another name that's come back from the past, isn't it? We've had Viva, we've had Hand Up, Nicola.
I was going to say I have some concerns already with, when it comes to pricing. When we already know how they price the Corsa, how they price the Astra. Now it's a bigger SUV. How much are we going to be talking for a car with a terrible name?
Yeah, I don't think we've not really got much info on pricing yet. But given that it's going to be another Stellantis small SUV. And actually,
is it a small SUV?
It's small. It's going to be smaller than I thought it would be. But so it's likely to have that. It's going to have that
like Avenger size.
Yeah, it's going to. I think that is that my understanding.
It's a little
correct,
bigger than
Mike?
that. It's going to be
Avenger size. It will probably get that 54 kilowatt hour battery, range of about 250 miles.
Oh.
It's going to be replacing a car called the Crossland in the current range. So if you have a look at that, it's going to be roughly the same size as that. So they'll have Mocha as the kind of entry level SUV, and then the Frontera will sit above that. Not a huge amount above that, but yeah, it will be slightly bigger. So, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe we don't like the name, but perhaps there'll be a whole new generation of people who kind of embrace it. It's obviously a good name. It's obviously must have researched well for them.
I don't mind the name, actually, Frontera. I don't actually mind the name. I'm just not sure that whenever a car maker, right, in their press releases describe a car as and say it will be a fun car, it will display a new rugged interpretation of a bold and pure design philosophy, they really lose me at that. So I think,
is that just a nice way of saying it's going to be full of scratchy plastics?
Probably functional and rugged, yeah. But no, I can't help but think that Vauxhall have lost their way a bit, and out of the whole sort of all those different Stellantis brands, we've got Citroën and Peugeot. Vauxhall is the one that I'm least excited by.
Yes. I get excited for a Peugeot, not for a Vauxhall.
Yeah, I get excited for Jeep, Jeep Avenger.
Yeah.
And of course, Manos adores the Jeep Avenger.
He does. Don't you, Manos?
Oh, he's here.
He's nodding.
Do you want to come in and just show everybody how much you love the Jeep Avenger? Come on, say hi to Manos. Manos is our head of production and head of video.
Your hat looks lovely.
Yeah, he's got his winter hat on. Here he is. This is Manos. How much do you love the Jeep Avenger? So much. He loves the Jeep Avenger. But yeah, I think Stellantis are doing some really good things, and I'm just not sure Vauxhall have quite got there yet. Would be my thoughts on that.
Would be me agreeing.
Okay,
Mike?
Yeah. Listen, I think any new electric car and any new car is good, but I think there's a degree of identity at Vauxhall. People need to know what it is, don't they? So I think that might be lacking a little bit. But I don't want to be too harsh on it till we've seen it and read about it. So keep my powder dry.
Something's wrong because Mike is agreeing with us a lot today.
I know. What's wrong with you, Mike?
Okay,
fine. Okay. Yeah, I will move on to the postbag in a minute. But yeah, I just in terms of all these new cars, I was looking at some stats earlier actually that was quite interesting. I'm just trying to find it now. So, right, we're talking about the increase in. It's great, like Mike said. We might not be thrilled and excited by the Frontera, but brilliant. There's another electric car coming. So 10 years ago, there were literally a handful of electric cars.
Yeah.
If we go back 5 years to 2018, there were 20 mainstream electric cars. There are close to 90 on sale just in the UK now.
That's good.
Wow.
I know. So it is all to be welcomed, all of the stuff that's arriving. And
90?
Particularly 90, yeah. Yeah, apparently so. Close to 90. It's like 80 something.
That's fantastic.
It's good, isn't it? If anybody wants to, in the comments below, let us know the names of all those 90.
Yes, if you can name all 90, yeah, go for it.
But should we go on to the postbag now, Mike? But before I do hand over to you, I want to say a special hello to Mike Doherty, because Mike Doherty is one of our listeners, and goodness me, he has upped the ante on the postbag.
Why?
So because not only he didn't just do a comment or an email, we got a lovely picture on, I think it was Instagram, last Friday night that we were all tagged in on, with Mike with his nice glass of red, settling down to listen to his weekly fix of the Kilowatt Half Hour.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike. It's a cup of tea. I'll choose you with a cup of tea. But thank you so much. But also thanks for everyone that listens.
Cappuccino.
In case you are listening, Nicola's holding up a box of cappuccino sachets. Anyway. But seriously, we are absolutely thrilled with how many of you are listening to the podcast every week.
Yeah.
We're a bit taken aback, really. So thank you so much. Please do keep listening. Please do send us your comments, your thoughts, your questions. And right now we will hand over to Postman Mike for the postbag.
Whenever you're ready, Mike.
Oh, bless you, bless you. I'll start with a few quick shout outs. You are Stan from Kangaroo Island TV, which is still the greatest YouTube handle in the world. You asked whether he did actually live on Kangaroo Island last week, Ginny. He does. He says, I most definitely do live on Kangaroo Island, where I'm the journalist for the Islander newspaper, which he's been filling up with EV stories. He's just today loaded up his video of his 1,000-kilometre trip from Lismore to Canberra. I watched it earlier. Stan, it's brilliant. It's really good. And not like I recommend other YouTube channels, but if you want a bit of escapism, have a look at one of Stan's videos. They're really good.
And what was that? So it's Kangaroo Island TV. Is it that everybody
Kangaroo
needs to
Island
dash
TV
off?
is
Not
what you
leave
need
the
to
podcast.
search for. No. Wait till we're finished
Okay.
waffling on. Yeah.
I will subscribe.
Yeah, I do. I haven't actually been to Kangaroo Island. My sister lives in Australia, and I said I bore everybody all the time. I used to live there, and it is like on my wish list of places to go to.
Yeah.
I was due to go, unfortunately, when it was hit with really bad wildfires a couple of years ago. That was, I think, start of 2020. So yes, I haven't made it there, but I will do, and I will come and say hello.
Excellent. Weekend Wanderers says, and I'm not just choosing the ones that have been nice to us this time. He says, I honestly live for this segment of the channel. And he says, my husband is sick to death of me talking about EVs, so this channel really helps fill the void, as I don't know anyone else with the same interest. But you're welcome, Weekend Wanderers. You're absolutely welcome. And Tassie EV, which I'm going to have to check the IP address because I'm sure it's either of you two, says, I can't wait for the full Postman song once again. I like it, and obviously some people have no sense of humour. So I suspect that's one of you two.
Postman Mike and his electric bike.
That's what it was.
So anyway, that's Please Tassie EV, which I'm convinced is one of you two. So
it's Nicola's mum.
Yeah, it probably is. I wouldn't put it past her.
I've got a couple of other subject to, we're talking serious stuff now. The subject of public charges and what kind of charges we need, because you were saying that most of the places in Oxfordshire are all low-powered ones and you wanted a high-power one. Rob Smith says, well done, talking about the issue about people without home charging who have to use public chargers. Slow destinations in car parks where you can leave a car all day would be a step forward. Yep. Hayley Loader says, you're chargist. I'm not sure who's pointing that finger out. I think it's you, Ginny, but she says, I have a Citroen Ami, so I need a 7-kilowatt charger as it doesn't take anything higher. I don't have a home charging situation, so she needs a public option. Let's hope sensible destination chargers will be put in. So there we go.
I need to hear more about how you are living your life with your Citroen Ami, because you're probably the first person I've heard from that actually has one. That's so exciting.
But also the fact that you aren't able to charge at home.
Yeah.
Can you let us
with
know?
an Ami?
Please drop us a line, actually. We would love to hear from you. So it's info@electrifying.com. Just about how you're managing that.
And Ginny, you weren't the only person being told off from last week. I suggested that hotels shouldn't have, they don't need to necessarily have one rapid charger when they could have, other ones in. But Jude Brown, friend of the show, has written and says, no, Mike, don't take away my 50-kilowatt rapid charger from Premier Inn. It says the people that use our BP Pulse come from the local village and other towns close by. So there's obviously some sort of hub. This one single 50-kilowatt charger is used by a village and some local towns. Yeah. It's our nearest one. So, so I'm very sorry. I have no intention of removing it, Jude. I don't think I have the power for that. But it's fascinating to know how that works for you guys.
And anything else caught your eye, Mike?
Yes. Subject of home charging, scheduling. Tat's son, who wrote in last week, and we helped him out because he was just about to get an electric car, just about to get an Aria, and wanted to know whether he sets his charging on the car app, the Omi app, or the Octopus app. And I think Tom was able to advise him on that. So he said, thank you very much for helping on that. If you've got any questions of that nature, try us. We might know the answer. If not, we can certainly talk to people who do. That combined with Tom's review of them makes you realise he's chosen the right company with Octopus, so that's brilliant. Who Needs Facts says he charges Aria on the Omi app, but also sets the timings in the car as well, because the Wallbox has a habit of going offline and charging his car to the max at full price, and that's so annoying when that happens, isn't it? Because you end up with a great big bill. And finally, Hisham G says, great podcast, really enjoy it, but I still don't know what to do about setting timers though. I've just got a Fiat 500 been delivered yesterday, and because my Wallbox is kaput and only charges up when you plug it in, the timer's gone on it. I was very relieved to find out that the one in the Fiat 500 to set the timing is incredibly easy. It was like 2 minutes. It was just like set charging from what time to what time, and it did it. If I try and do that in the i3, you need to be whiz-bit to work out how to use the one in the i3, because it's impossible. It's about 14 different screens. You've got to set a departure time, this, that, and the other. So hats off to Fiat. That's actually a really good system in the 500.
Do you know what? I've forgotten what a good car the Fiat 500 is. It's nice to know that you've got a Fiat 500 again, Mike, because it's one of those cars that we loved. I think it was our very first electrifying car of the year was the Fiat 500. And we haven't filmed with one or seen one for a while, but it's a great little car, but it just got a bit expensive, didn't it? That was the problem with it.
It got a bit expensive. The range wasn't that great, and it plays a really creepy clown tune when you turn the car on.
See, I like that. It's by Nino Rotto, who composed the music for The Godfather.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's not true. Is that true?
True. It's a true fact.
Every day is a school day, folks. And on that note,
I didn't know that. My mind has been blown.
So is that it for the postbag, Mike?
I mean, there were so many more, but those, yes, that's all we can manage. We're already over. So, but please carry on commenting. We love reading them. And if you've got any questions or any mad things, just let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, please do. You can either comment here on the YouTube channel, and if you want already, please do subscribe. We've got a podcast special coming out in a couple of weeks as well, which is going to talk all about the best used electric car bargains. So that will be coming your way. And if you listen to us on your usual podcast streaming service, you can drop us an email, send comments. Just let us know how you're doing at info@electrifying.com. We'd love to hear from you.
And if you are listening either on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, then leave us a review and a 5-star rating, because that really helps us in terms of the algorithm for more people finding our podcast. Thank you very much.
And we would massively appreciate that. And on that note of grovelling, we will say goodbye from Team Electrifying.
Bye.
Have an electrifying week, and we'll see you next
week.
time.